I'm spending a day in the towns around Colmar. There's so many magical medieval towns in this region, and on this day trip I actually explored Colmar, Riquewihr and Eguisheim. But honestly, this guide will help anyone heading to this whole region, because every town here looks straight out of a storybook. Now, why should you trust me to show you around? Well, I did this the way that most travelers dream of, a hop-on, hop-off bus that lets you explore at your own pace, getting lost in the hidden alleys, soaking up the local flavors, and snapping photos in villages where every corner is prettier than the last. Along the way, I learned why these places aren't just beautiful, they're alive with history, and each one left me seeing France in a completely new light. So join me on this day trip, and by the end, I'll give you my honest opinion if it's actually worth the effort in getting here. So, let's explore the towns. Now, I don't want to waste too much of your time talking about this, but to get there, I took the train from Strasbourg. Strasbourg's lovely, by the way, check out the vlog for that. And I took the train from Strasbourg to Colmar. And then from Colmar, you can do the different trips to the different medieval towns. Highly recommend it, it really worked well. I'll talk more about that at the end of the video. So let's start the journey in Riquewihr. Now this is one of those towns that looks like it was plucked straight from a storybook. And to be honest, it kind of was, because the Beauty and the Beast movie was actually based on this town / these towns around here. It's got these colorful half-timbered houses, cobblestone streets, and it's surrounded by vineyards. And it's easy to see why it's often dubbed as one of the most beautiful villages in all of France. Wandering through the town feels like stepping back in time. The main street, Rue de Général de Gaulle, I pronounced that wrong, I do apologize, but it's aligned with these charming shops, inviting cafes, and historic buildings that have stood there for centuries. And the Dolder Tower is a 13th century gatehouse that stands tall at the end of the street, offering a glimpse into the town's medieval past. However, it is worth noting that Riquewihr is not a hidden gem if you think you've stumbled upon, something that no one else knows about. Sadly, it's not that. Especially during peak season, with tourists, the town can get quite crowded. And some of the shops there definitely cater to tourists. Same thing with the bakeries. It definitely feels kind of like, set up for tourists. So if you're looking for more of a tranquil experience, then consider visiting early in the morning or just, during the off-season. But despite the fact that there's sometimes crowds, Riquewir's beauty and ambience makes it a worthwhile stop. Whether you're sipping on the local wines, exploring the historic sites, or simply soaking in the picturesque surroundings, this town offers a delightful experience that captures the essence of Alsace. Speaking of delightful, I had this very nice sandwich. So this town has a history that stretches back to the 13th century, and remarkably, it survived wars and centuries of change with its storybook appearance almost perfectly preserved. And this place wasn't just built for tourists, its narrow cobblestone streets and ancient gates are the same ones that merchants and villagers used hundreds of years ago. Now these towns aren't too large, so you probably won't stay in them for too long, meaning it's time to hop on the bus and go to the next town. So the next town we went to was Eguisheim, I think I'm pronouncing that right, and this town is equally as stunning. The village is built in like a circular layout around the central castle, making it incredibly easy to explore on foot. And as you wander, you'll notice the vibrant half-timbered houses, each adorned with these colorful flowers, especially in the warmer months. It's no surprise that Eguisheim was named France's favorite village in 2013. Eguisheim is actually renowned for its wine, and the surrounding vineyards actually produce some of Alsace's finest. Now, if you saw my Paris vlog, you know I know nothing about wine, but I'm sure it tastes great. Now, again, like the last town and like Colmar, this place is quite popular. If you come in the middle of the day, especially in summer, it's going to be packed with tourists, and I'm one of them. Depending on where you're walking though, it won't be too busy, but again, this town definitely feels like a tourist town. It doesn't feel like you're walking amongst locals that much. It feels like you're walking, with a bunch of tourists. And sometimes the shops and cafes feel a bit too picture perfect, almost like you're visiting Disneyland. But again, this town wasn't set up for tourism, it's just because it looks so beautiful, it has become touristy. The best part of these towns is just wandering around. There's no must-see list, really. You'll naturally just walk around in a circle, but every single street is truly, truly beautiful. So I wouldn't stress about writing an itinerary. One of the highlights for me was seeing this stork here. If you haven't seen my Strasbourg vlog, I recommend checking that out. Storks are like famous icons of the Alsace region. I actually managed to film them doing this thing called bill clattering. It's this thing that storks do when they bend their necks back and point their beak upwards and rapidly clatter their bills together, which is a classic part of their social and mating rituals. After that, it was time for lunch, and I found this place here. It's all vegan, I'm pretty sure, and it tasted absolutely incredible. Even if you're not vegan, I recommend it. And say hi to the owner for me. I had a very nice chat with him. He was very lovely. Then after that, it was time to hop on to the bus, which was the last town of the day, called Colmar. Now, Colmar, like the other towns, is one of those places that you see on Instagram Reels and you wonder, is it really that pretty? But honestly, yeah, it kind of is. Colmar had, a very similar design, architecture, layout, all of that to the other towns that we explored. The pastel-colored houses, the wooden timber frames, and all of that. And there's a ton of history here too. Colmar has its roots back to the 9th century, and because it switched between France and German control a bunch of times, you get this cool blend of cultures, as you can, probably tell from the architecture and everything. You have these French cafes next to these German-looking houses. You get local dishes that are French food and German food. Oh, and if you're into art, the town is super proud of being the birthplace of, I'm going to butcher the name, Frederick August Bartholdi. And that's actually the guy who designed the Statue of Liberty. Hence, we drove past a small Statue of Liberty in a roundabout. Speaking about driving past something, was that a good transition to the next chapter? So I want to quickly talk about how to get around between these different fairy tale towns of the Colmar region, because it's actually super easy and there are a few ways to do it. We used this service here for a hop-on, hop-off bus, which turned out to be a really good decision. It was super convenient, it was super comfortable, it was just great. I'm not sponsored or affiliated or anything. I was just very happy with their service. The bus tour that I took isn't the only option. There are a ton of different buses, such as the one behind me right now, that go to all of the towns in this area. So you can just jump off, wander around, and then catch the next one. There's also local buses and even bike rental options if you're up for quite a bit of exercise, but I'm very happy that we did the bus option as it turned out great. Now to answer the big question, is it actually worth the effort in exploring these towns? I think there's a very clear pro and con of the area. The pro is that it's obviously insanely beautiful. Every single street that you walk down is picturesque and definitely worth a photo. The big con of the area is that it's very touristy. If you're looking for, an authentic experience of France, you're probably not going to get that here. Every single, cafe and shop is clearly catered for tourists. If you want an authentic experience, you'll probably have to go elsewhere, but for a one-day trip, it is quite fun. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this useful. Subscribe.